This is Jamie with Bar I. Welcome back to our How It Works video series, where we explore the different modules or functions of our inventory system so you can decide if it will be a good fit for inventory at your bar. In this video, we're looking at perhaps the most important thing after counting, which is the end result, the analytics, or what we like to call our down to the serving approach to inventory. What we see a lot of people doing when they come to us is they are stuck on doing inventory at a basic level to see what needs to be ordered, or at level 2 level where they're calculating liquor cost by category. The problem with measuring liquor cost by category is that you can see how much money you're making, but you can't see enough detail to see where you have problems and therefore where the opportunities are to make more money. Having done this and measured this all over the country, thousands of times for bars, we see that the average bar that is not doing down to the serving inventory is pouring 15% more alcohol than what they're actually selling. So they account and sell 85% of what they pour, and everything else is just being given away, and they're losing retail dollars because of that. So let's take a look at a completed pro version set of results and imagine what down to the serving means for your bar. So here we have a completed set of results. And the single most important number on a bar I report is the accountability percentage for the bar. So this bar is scoring a very healthy, basically 98%, meaning that they accounted for 98% of what was poured, and they're only missing 2%. Again, that compares to an average bar missing 15% and scoring 85 in accountability. We obviously break that number down by the main categories. This is, to be honest, almost perfect results. And we also can measure the number of servings missing in each category. So we see these guys are missing 380, biggest amount coming from draft, next is from liquor. Having this detail means we can calculate another bunch of useful information, like the 380 missing servings cost them $302 at cost. We measure their liquor cost very accurately, in this case 19.55%. And my favorite statistic the software measures is what your liquor cost would be if you'd scored 100%. A lot of people like to compare to what they did last month, which has past deficiencies built in, or industry averages, and you don't have an industry average bar. The achievable cost is great because it factors in what you're selling your product for, what you're buying it for, the product mix, the specifics of the week's discounts, etc. And so the only difference between your score and your achievable is the effect of missing product. So while you may never get to exact perfection, when you've got a live thing to aim at, a live target, it makes it much easier to get closer to that number. We also can calculate useful stats with down to the serving, such as the average price you buy a serving for and the average price, retail price you sell a serving for. And again, that's on a per bar, on an overall bar and a per category basis. We do the same on individual items. So here I'm looking at a list of the items in the liquor category that had more sold than poured. We joke and call that the Jesus pour. Probably means they rung something and poured something else. Or what is missing. And these are the opportunities to do better. So we take Well Vodka, we can see we're missing 63 servings. Here is the detailed breakdown. So they started with 28 bottles, had purchased 36, today had 26. Do the math, means they poured 36 versus, poured 38, having sold 35. So there's that 2.8 missing bottles or 63 servings. A reasonable question a bartender would ask is, how do I know that's true? And that's where the detailed product viewer comes in. So the detailed product viewer breaks down all of the line by line information that has led to these calculations. So on the sales side, you see a breakdown of which buttons involve the product in question, how many times they were sold, the dollars taken per push, the recipe, which we've written during setup according to their exact specifications. And if you multiply the quantity sold by the recipe setting, you get the ounces sold, which you can convert to units or bottles, and then add it for all the items and understand how we've concluded we sold 35 bottles. On the on the counting side, to calculate our usage, these guys counted 26 bottles. Again, we see a breakdown of every shelf where their Well Vodka is present. We know the weight of the bottle, how full it is, or in this case, how many bottles were counted, and that's then aggregated. So you can check the numbers before results are finalized, so you learn from errors and know how to fix them for next time. your results are more accurate because the errors have been fixed. And any true variances where you did, in fact, use more or less than what you sold have been confirmed before we finalize them. And ultimately, this yields a higher confidence, and you can move the conversation on with your staff and stop talking about maybe this, maybe that, and say, this is the numbers. Let's think about how we pause those numbers and what we're going to do to fix it. This is not magic. So typically, a set of bar scores 85%. We are able, by repeating this process, doing the hard work in between to update point of sale, do our better counting, learn from those, we can turn that around and get your losses 5% or less. And typically, our clients reduce their full liquor costs by 3 full percentage points. It also gives you clarity on how you're doing compared to where you could or should be. And you can compare your results against recent history. So, for instance, I'm moving on from Well Vodka here. We also can see a breakdown, but here is a different client here who's been a client just for 10 weeks-long cycles. At the start of the process, as is often the case, you see the results jump from 92 to 84. That's probably a measurement error. Then we start to hit our stride and see a bit more consistency, and you see in this middle part, the results in the early first few weeks we worked with them were in the sort of mid or low 90s. And the midpoint of the losses, this bar graph is showing the losses, was somewhere around 150 maybe dollars a week. When we saw this nice jump from 1 week scoring 86, 88, and then the last few weeks we've been scoring the high 90s, we see that the midpoint of the losses is now down to, in one case, just $17 missing or 70. But you can track how you're doing and see the effect in real time and real dollars. So this allows you to make data-driven decisions, hold your staff accountable, and you also can manage your product selection more effectively with our ordering tool, which will compare your dynamic pars against inventory in hand and tell you what you need to order, as well as submitting those orders to your distributors directly via email. If this is looking like a level of detail accuracy that you don't have at your bar, please schedule a demo. We'd be happy to talk about how we can set this up at your bar and start turning those missing servings into more dollars in your pocket and the bottom line. Thanks for watching.